we go for real. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night call. We are so excited to have Diamond Ambassador Brenda Martin here with us tonight. You guys have no idea. When I say I'm excited, I mean jumping up and down. Just before I got on here, y'all just couldn't see me. But Brenda is one of my faves and always has been. I've been in this company for 3.5 years. And I think I joined probably right after she did, but she's just always been somebody that I aspired to be like, because she's just so full of grace and wisdom. She loves the Lord. She's like the Michelle Duggar of Plexus, and I love her. She has 11 kids. She homeschools. She just everything I've always just wanted to be, and she's a diamond. So I'm so honored to be able to have her on here with us tonight, for her to share her wisdom with us. Cannot wait to hear from her. And without further ado, I'm just going to let Brenda tell us her story. Brenda, go ahead. Tell us your story.
Okay, I'd love to. My story is one of my favorite things to tell. But first, I have to say that was a first to ever be called the Michelle Duggar of Plexus. I'm tucking that one away. That'll come in handy.
You've never heard that. I've always thought it. I should have told you.
Oh, that's funny. And you know what, guys? She talked me up a little bit too much, I think, because I am just a mama like the rest of you. I'm just getting to live an extraordinary life, okay? I am just someone who is kind of crazy about telling people about the things I love. I always have. And so when Plexus came along, it was just the next thing that I was going to tell everybody about. And really, it was that simple. I mean, it really was to begin with, until I, started growing a team and realized some other things I needed to do too. But that's really where my story of my success started, was just telling all my friends. But let's back up a little bit to getting on 4 years ago now, because it's over 3.5 years that I'm with Plexus. I was exhausted on the couch every day. We'd get up, and we were very, had a very set routine, which probably is what saved my sanity during those years of struggle with fatigue. We would do our morning duties, and we would have school. But basically, once school was done, I would crash. I was done. And my afternoons were spent on the couch, and often on into the evenings. The children learned to fix dinner, and they just kind of took care of things, because I just didn't have the gumption to get up and do anything. That had gradually gotten worse over a matter of approximately 10 years because of several things that came into our life that brought a lot of stress. I can see where it kind of started with my twins when they were 2.5 years old. They had a pretty bad burn that they ended up in the burn unit for weeks, a couple months. And a few years later, well, actually, it was about right that same time, actually, just a short time after that, my husband's, he really revamped his business, got a lot of new machinery, and it was a great thing. He was really set up well for really cranking out the custom kitchen cabinets he was doing. But soon after that is when the recession hit, and no one was buying brand new high-end custom kitchen cabinets. And so here we were sitting with all this new machinery and debt, and plugging away, trying to price jobs really low just so we get them, but we weren't making much profit. And so that's kind of how we lived for the next several years. And that took its toll on us, physically. And then we had a few things come up, like we bought a new business to kind of compensate our, it was supposed to be a little side income, which has now turned out to be a major income. Another story in and of itself. My father got cancer, and he was gone within a few months. A lot. So I want you guys to understand, when you're going through life and you have heavy stresses come on you, that affects you so physically. But here's the cool part about Plexus. So I found myself in that position of physically being exhausted and drained. And I knew I was starting to recognize a lot of it was due to the stress of finances. So I was crying out to God daily, nightly. My pillow was wet with tears, saying, God, you've got to bring something to give us some relief. We just can't continue living this way. We have 8 sons who are all their own little entrepreneurs that they probably will never go out and work for someone else. They're so loving to learn and learn skills and doing things, and they're so business minded, and they're talking already about dreams and things they want to do, and we want to be able to support them and help them get going in their own endeavors in life. But we were so strapped with debt. So anyway, I'm trying to make this not too long, Brittany. I forgot to even ask you how much time I have.
You're fine. We're listening to anything you have to say.
Okay. So that was my desperate prayer. Well, how did I ever guess God would bring an answer to both of those things in a pink drink? And when I felt my own results and saw how amazing this opportunity was, I thought, how gracious of God to bring an answer for the two things that probably most people in our country struggle with: health and finances. How perfect that it can work to hit both areas. My husband and I just recently came from a marriage retreat we had been to, and a couple times, it caught my ear when they would talk about things that are hard on marriages, like health and finances. And I'm like, yes, those are the two things that most people are just looking for answers for, and don't maybe have lost hope or are praying desperate prayers. And so I guess that's probably what got me so excited about sharing with my friends, because I saw them struggling all around me. And I knew I had answers for both. And how many times does that happen? And so I, of course, had to start telling all my friends. I literally didn't have much training like you guys have now. We have amazing resources of training in our company. But back then I had my back office, which was the old back office. I had the little old Welcome Success kit that came in the mail with, very minimal things in it. But in there was a magnet, and pardon my hands, I'm using them a lot, and they're all covered in body cream because I got a burn tonight in the kitchen. It was bad, and that blessed body cream took the pain away. I just love and adore that stuff. This little magnet that I stuck on the fridge to remind me of a few things I could do to get my business going. And one thing on there was contact 2 to 3 people a day. And I figured that's something I can do. I didn't have anyone telling me anything about a Frank's list or even making a list of 100 people. I was clueless. But I knew, being a busy homeschooling mama, I could talk to 2 to 3 people a day. Sure. Okay. So I pull out my email address list, my Facebook friends list, my old handwritten address book I had, my cell phone list. And I started reaching out to my friends. No one had told me to do that, but I just knew people had to hear this. I also had a few Sonia Dudley training videos at the time where she just shared a few simple things like how the business works, how you can multiply. You add 3, you go silver, and they add 3, and how points can add up. And I'm like, wow. And Kristen told me she lived in a community where there were emeralds, sapphires, and diamonds making, these big numbers a month. And I'm like, are you sure you have that right? She's like, yeah, I've seen their paychecks. Like, wow. Okay. So God is not incapable of bringing something my way that I had prayed for, even though at first I kind of wanted to reject it because I had bad impression of network marketing. And it wasn't something I ever had desired to get into, really. I had briefly asked my husband about a couple of them that my friends wanted me to join. And he's always like, I'm not seeing much profit there. I don't see how it could be worth your time. Your time is so valuable. And the products we had considered selling weren't things that I felt like I could get passionate about and really, really want to tell people to they need to consider. You can only handle so many things in your house, and I hated the idea of trying to talk people into that. So hey, that Plexus, that wasn't even a question. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs to hear. And it was just a no-brainer for us as a family. This is what God brought our way. And we sat the family down and said, Mama's going to be focused on this business. I'm going to be at the computer more, on the phone some. I'm still on the phone, not much at all. I've done this pretty much all online. And it's going to mean getting out of our financial stress. It's going to mean a bigger living space because we were desperately needing that. We're in a technically 2-bedroom farmhouse, but we've made it into 3 bedrooms. And when they, heard our vision and our plan. They knew God brought this answer. Everybody was on board to carry the load, do a few more house chores, be okay with mama spending more time at the computer, doing Zooms, whatever it took. They knew that what it would mean, and they all rejoiced with me. Every rank, every milestone, every goal, it was a family goal. It was teamwork. We were doing this together. They were my biggest cheerleaders. And yeah, I could go on, but that's my story.
I love that. So what did the products do for your health in particular that made you so passionate and decide that everybody needs to hear this?
Well, first of all, I didn't think I was noticing anything in the first few weeks, but my boys would come in and they'd say, Mom, you're in the kitchen. You're not on the couch. I'd be like, oh, I guess I am up and about more. My teenagers would say, wow, Mom, your mood is a lot better. You're more mellow. You're not so stressed. They were amazed that when they would suggest something like going on a weekend trip, instead of me going, oh, no, I'd be like, okay, let's do this. It was just that huge difference the family saw within the first month. I personally felt like I didn't see my results that made me really convinced until my second month. But guess what, guys? That's also the month I went silver. I was telling my friends, because I knew this was invaluable and everybody needed it, before I really felt like I had an amazing result. But basically, I got off the couch. I feel 20 years younger. My digestive system that I had tried everything for, strict anti-yeast diets, expensive probiotics, and nothing ever really took care of it. Finally had a quiet, calm, happy gut that worked like it should. And being strong and going all day long and sleeping at night. But Mama wouldn't be happy about that.
Definitely. Love that. Okay. So how long did it take you to get the emerald and then diamond? And then what do you think were the key factors in helping you get there?
Okay. I hit emerald in 9 months. Diamond was 20 months, I think. So that would have been, what is that? 11 months later. The key factors I feel like were really just that, I told you guys how it was such a huge answer to prayer. So I just felt like I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, I had like a childlike faith. I'm just like, duh, God brought this. I'm going to commit. I'm going to go all the way. It was just, I never questioned it. I never sat there going, can I do this? I don't know about this, or I need to know more, or I'll see what I can do. I'll try. And it's hard for me to really explain that to people. Like, how did I get that? I guess I give the credit to God answering our prayer so clearly that we knew this was for us, but also Kristen, my sponsor, like I mentioned, she told me what was possible. She said she thinks I can do amazing this. She built me up. She, kept telling me every day that this is so something I could do. She knew I was terribly busy. She knew we were under financial stress. She knew our situation, yet she said, you can do this. You've got this. So I think I just had that, maybe you want to call a little bit of ignorance, childlike faith. I was just like, duh, of course. I'm going to do this. So I think that was one huge thing. I never questioned it. I was going to the top, and that's all there was to it. Another one I felt really like, I think I kind of covered, was that I had that passion. I guess I just had so many friends and family suffering. I just knew that these products get to such root issues. How selfish of me to not urgently tell them. But along with that passion, I was focused. You might even say I was consumed with Plexus. The first while, I was just like so amazed at so much of it, the products, the company, the comp plan, that Kristen and Lori and I would get our heads together, and we would sometimes go, do you guys feel this way too, that you just eat, drink, and breathe Plexus? Like, you just can't do anything else right now? We'd have to just force ourselves to shut down because we were just so focused, kept our eye on the ball the whole time. And looking back, again, I didn't realize at the time it was key, but looking back now and working with people that say, hey, it's not working, I see they're not focused. Mm-hmm. And you you have to be.
Tell me
And
what
then,
focus looks like. Define that for me, just so people have an idea. What does that look like to be eye on the prize, I'm focused, go in there, do or die, no excuses?
yes, that's it. I guess I would define it as saying there was no other option. I felt like it's like you were going to cross this river, you're going to swim across this river, and you couldn't turn back. There was just no turning back. There was no option. You had to do this. But it was so fun at the same time. It wasn't like a forced thing. It was so delightful to get all these people feeling better and to see my team grow and to see that paycheck grow and to see the delight in my husband and children's eyes when they saw that success. But it looked like sacrifice. I gave up watching movies altogether. I gave up a clean, neat, organized house. I was kind of one of these people that I would get this urge, a couple times a year to just scourge what's the word I'm looking for? Get rid of a lot of stuff. Just go through all closets and, I would just clean and cleanse and get rid of things. My kids have a nickname for me because I pitch things out so much. And that stuff just didn't even matter to me anymore. It was like I am so focused on getting my family out of debt that we're just going to let all this stuff go. And that's kind of what it was for me. Just letting things go and working Plexus into every single chance I had. I did my kids' school. I did meals. I did, time with my kids that I had already in our routine. But outside of that, I was working Plexus.
Yes, definitely. I love that. I'm so glad you shared that. So you kept what was the most important as the most important. You didn't completely sacrifice your life for what was the most important to you. Are you able to watch a movie now? Was it worth it?
Yes. Yes. Now I can just shut down for an afternoon or evening and just spend time with the family for a weekend if I want to. And things will continue to happen with the business for sure.
Yes, love that. Okay. So what would you say were your biggest obstacles that you had to overcome on your journey to Diamond?
Probably not letting those no's bother me too much, not taking them personal, remembering it's just about them. It's just about where they're at in life. It's not about me, and letting it go and not letting those people who even said kind of nasty things. I was in tears over things my friends said, guys. It wasn't all roses the whole way up, but I could only, be hurt for 5-10 minutes, cry it out to my husband and move on, because they weren't the ones that were paying my bills. They weren't the ones that even cared two hoots about how my family survived day after day. It kind of weeded out, I guess, the friends who I thought were friends. Mm-hmm. So I had to just learn to just let things like that go. Another thing I'd say that, I don't know if you'd really call it an obstacle, but it was a real learning. I remember the moment that it struck me, it really made a difference for how I worked my business. And that was realizing that I am not looking for or waiting for a rock star. I am the rock star, and I have to act like it. I'm going to be the best ambassador on my team and set an example so high that everyone else, to try to reach that, they're going to be successful. And so I just see that as a stumbling block for so many people when they're waiting for their rock star. Guys, you are the rock star. You act like it. You set the example. You're going to get those rock stars. Okay. And then the other one that I thought of was sacrifice, but I kind of covered that before. Being willing to give things up. I'm just amazed at people who want this business so bad, and yet they do all these extracurricular things, I call them, things that they could say no to and work their Plexus business instead.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love what you were saying about being your own rock star. You need to elaborate on that a little bit. Go ahead and preach right there for a minute, Brenda. What does that mean? How do you be your own rock star? Were you your own rock star when you hit jewel status, or even when you hit diamond? Did you have a bunch of rock stars on your team? What did that look like?
No, actually, I never did. When I hit emerald, the person who became my rock star then was just gold. And so I had just a ton of golds when I hit emerald, golds and silvers, because I had a lot of level ones. I had heard when I first came in that the average jewel had 40 to 45 level ones. That was my first goal. Okay, sure, I can get 40 level ones. Bring it on. But every level one that came in, I was going to get them silver and gold or beyond. As far as they were willing to go, I'm here to help them get there. So that's kind of what that looked like to me. I would just sponsor as many people as I could. I would get as many customers as I could. My goal was just big, big, big. Every month I set myself a high goal. In fact, it was funny. I'd often tell Kristen my next goal, and she would say, I don't know. She'd always want to push out another month for me. And I'm like, wait, you do that? I'm going to prove you wrong. And so I just set the bar high for myself, and I held myself to it.
That's awesome. I love that you said that you hit emerald with your highest rank was a gold. Is that what you said? And then a whole bunch of silvers. Mm-hmm. And that is pretty much what I did. My highest ranking when I would hit emerald was a senior gold.
Actually, I did have one senior gold. I was referring to the one who is now my highest level. Was a gold then, but I did have one other senior gold.
Yes. So you don't have to have rock stars to be a rock star. I absolutely love that. I'm so glad you said that. All right. Okay. So last question, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what are your top 5 tips for anyone who's feeling stuck in their business?
Okay. So you had asked me that earlier in our chat, so I jotted some things down just tonight before I got on. And I'll probably, if I would have time to think about this, I'd probably think of 5 more. But here's what I came up with. If what you're doing, you say you're stuck, but if what you are doing on a daily basis or however much you're working isn't working, then fix it. Stop doing the same things over and over and over that aren't getting results. But I'd say your best way to fix that is to be coachable. Go to your upline, your sponsor, your strongest leader above you that has been helping you or that knows you and knows what's going on, and they're observing you. They will know, most likely, what is holding you back. Or if they don't know, they'll find out. They'll talk to you. They'll ask you questions. They'll help you dig and find out what's keeping you stuck. Because, guys, don't keep on doing it over and over and over. Spinning your wheels, figure it out, find what's going to make a difference for you. But you can't do it alone. Don't even think you can do it alone.
Yes.
You've got to get your upline or sideline help to fix that. So I think being coachable is enormous. My next one would be, well, that was actually the first 2. It boils down to action. So maybe once you get some of that figured out, action cures everything is my quote. You're feeling stuck. You're feeling down. You're feeling like everybody's saying no. You're feeling like, can I even do this? Well, the best thing to get you out of any of that is to just get busy. Hopefully I'm sure you have amazing upline that's given you a plan. They've given you, hey, if you do these 3 things every day, something will happen. And so just get busy. But again, be willing to change things up. If what you've been messaging doesn't seem to be getting results, find out how you can maybe be tweaking your wording. I love when people send me something and say, hey, how does this wording look? I feel like I'm not getting good results from messages using this. How could I change that up? What could I add to it? But when I talk about action, your calendar should be full. You should have your daily IPA all planned out. You should have events planned, whether it's big or small, little launch parties. You should have coffee dates planned. Your calendar should be full. And that's another good one for if you're working with somebody who's stuck, ask them what their calendar looks like. Without that, guys, you're going to stay stuck. Okay, my number 4 would probably be consistency. And I just can't stress that enough. People who, you know, do their IPA and message people for a week and then something happens, you know, some extra things come along and they're busy and, oh, I just got out of the habit. Well, that's your choice. You can get up an hour early. You can work it in somewhere. It doesn't take that long. And I'm speaking to myself here because I know exactly what that's like. But without consistency, you will always, always find an excuse to fall off a bandwagon. You don't hold yourself to some consistent plan. Get someone to hold you accountable.
I think if you have 11 kids and you can fit it in, pretty sure we can fit. When I start feeling sorry for myself and I have 5 kids, I go watch your Diamond Doc. I tell people that all the time because, I mean, you have 11 kids. That's like more than double what I have. Surely I can fit it in. You know, anybody can. So, yeah, love that. Go ahead.
And while we're on that little soapbox, I want to just tell you guys, maybe this will be encouraging to some mamas. I've never had an office to myself. I've never had a quiet room. I'm in my bedroom right now. That's where I do most of my Zooms. And when I'm working in my business, my kids are around me. I've trained them to where if they come to me and say, hey, Mom, you know, they have a question, I hold up my finger. As long as my finger is in the air, they do not speak. I'm concentrating. I'm, you know, answering a question. I mean, I hold my finger up. I can put it down tight. But when I turn to them, then they can talk to me. And then there's things like that I had to establish because I'm dreaming of the day when I can have my own office, my own quiet space. But I just looked back, you know, after a year or so and realized, wow, I've just been doing this with all the chaos around me. But I was that focused and that determined. Anyway, toot my own horn there a little bit, but I'm just saying, guys, you can do it if you want it bad enough.
I'm trying that finger trick. I'm implementing the finger tomorrow. My kids are all getting the finger.
I love it. Well, it's just kind of like letting them know you acknowledge them. You heard them. You know they're here. But just a second, you don't have the floor right now. And then my last one would be to stay plugged in. Guys, without constant feeding of training and ideas and encouragement from others, you get dried up. So don't forget that. I recently talked to someone. Someone's laughing at the finger for it.
That was a joke. I'm not really giving my finger.
I know. Without somebody to help you stay encouraged and stay focused, you just lose some of your steam.
Amen.
I was recently talking to one of mine who was stuck in their business, and after asking questions, I found out she wasn't really watching trainings anymore. She wasn't really talking, you know, in touch with any sidelines, no power partner, no accountability, just nothing, just floating on an island by yourself. And I'm like, girl, I think we found your problem. So that's when I just want to encourage you guys, never ever think you can do this alone.
I totally agree with that. You can ask Fallon. I still call her every week, like, give me a pep talk or encouragement, whatever. I mean, it's something you have to be very intentional about. You do, because we naturally tend to be negative. That's something we have to be intentional about overcoming. I have an appointment with Lori later this week too. So, I mean, yeah, you got to stay plugged in and just keep feeding your mind. I mean, we pour out so much of ourselves, especially as leaders. You definitely have to be filling yourself back up. So I love that. Okay, can I ask you one more question? I promise. Sure. The last question. Since you have so many silvers, okay, what are your best tips on getting people to silver?
Asking them questions.
Like, how do you get them to want to do it? All that stuff.
Okay. I usually probably start with asking them questions, getting to know what they want, what their goals are, so that I then know how to approach them and say, oh, okay, so you'd like to get your products paid for, or okay, you have 3 people that you want to share the products with. Guess what? If you go get these 3 people on as wholesale ambassadors, you get your $100 bonus, you know, whatever. I explain the whole, then I give them numbers. But I feel like I can do them better service when I ask them questions, find out what they want, and then show them how.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to look kind of different for everybody. So I don't really have a down pat. Oh, here's how you do silver, because I feel it's so individualized when they're new like that. You just don't know where their mind is or their heart is at that point. So just ask them questions.
Mm-hmm. So just be people focused, others focused, and keep the focus on them. Yeah, just connect with people then. Love
And
that.
show them specific numbers. Show them, hey, if you go silver, this is what it will look like. This is what your paycheck could look like.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Brenda. I appreciate you being on here and sharing all your wisdom with us. That was so, so good. And we are so grateful that you took the time out of your evening to come and share with us. So I'm going to post this recording in the group, guys, and I'll send it to you too as well, Brenda. Thank you again. We really enjoyed having you on here.
You're very welcome. Thank you much. It was honored.
All right. Good night, everybody. We're going to go ahead and shut it down.